On the first of Muharram al-Haram, the caravan of the Prophet's grandson, Imam Hussain, reached the scorching sands of Karbala, and on the 7th of Muharram, Umar ibn Saad's army cut off the water supply to this sacred household. Water that animals, horses, and dogs could drink was forbidden to the children of the Prophet's family. On the night between the 9th and 10th of Muharram, Shimr and Ibn Saad delivered an ultimatum to the noble Imam: either pledge allegiance to Yazid or prepare for battle. Imam Hussain consulted his sister, Sayyida Zainab, and came out to announce the historic decision that shook the halls of disbelief. He declared, "There will never be any allegiance." But the Imam asked the enemy for one night's respite, not to prolong his life, but to perform final prostrations before his Lord. He said he wished to spend one night in communion with his Lord, just as his grandfather had spent the night before Badr in worship, and that his grandson upheld the same tradition. When the night passed and the sun rose on the 10th of Muharram, the conscience of one man in the enemy camp awakened, Hur ibn Yazid, a renowned commander of Yazid's army. He asked Umar ibn Saad whether he truly intended to fight Imam Hussain. When told yes, and that the response would be so severe it would be remembered, Hur made a historic decision. He said he wanted not worldly rule but the paradise of the Prophet. He spurred his horse out of Yazid's army and fell at the feet of Imam Hussain. This was Imam Hussein's first moral victory, and Hur ibn Yazid earned the honor of being the first martyr on the Imam's side at Karbala. On the morning of the 10th of Muharram, when the drums of war sounded, Imam Hussain stood not with an ordinary army but with an ocean of honor and faith. On that field were 4 brave sons of Maula Ali: Ghazi Abbas, the standard-bearer, Abu Bakr ibn Ali, Omar ibn Ali, and Usman ibn Ali, names the Lion of God had given his sons after his own companions, and each sacrificed his life for the cause of Hussein. First, Sayyida Zainab's 2 young sons, Aun and Muhammad, entered the field and were martyred. Then came Imam Hassan's legacy, 16-year-old Qasim. When the Imam tried to stop him, he showed the will his father had left him, which read, "Qasim, if hardship ever befalls my brother Hussein, become his shield." Despite intense thirst, Hazrat Qasim wrote a chapter of courage that left history astonished. Then came the body of the youth who resembled the Prophet, Ali Akbar, which the Imam lifted with his own eyes open. And beyond that, when the enemy answered the thirst of 6-month-old Ali Asghar with an arrow, the noble Imam raised the infant's blood toward the sky and said, "O Lord, witness, I have sacrificed even my 6-month-old child for the sake of your faith." When everyone else had departed and Ghazi Abbas's arms had been severed, the noble Imam himself, tied on the turban of the Prophet, took up Maula Ali's sword Zulfiqar and entered the field. Wherever he turned, the Yazidi army retreated. Finally, as the time for Asr prayer came, the Prophet's grandson, wounded and exhausted from thirst, dismounted, performed tayammum on the hot sand, and placed his head in prostration. As Shimr approached with a dagger, the Imam turned to his Lord and asked, "My Lord, tell me, are you pleased with Hussein?" And in that state, Imam Hussain was martyred. After the martyrdom, the enemy army set fire to the tents and looted the belongings. The survivors, including Imam Zain al-Abidin, Ali ibn Hussain, who could not take part in the battle due to severe illness, and the women of the household, were taken captive, first to Kufa and then to Damascus. At the royal court in Damascus, where Yazid ibn Muawiyah sat on the throne, the captives were presented, and it was there that Sayyida Zainab bint Ali delivered her famous sermon exposing Yazidi propaganda before the courtiers and foreign envoys, and making clear that this battle was not the result of political rebellion but a defensive principle. When the Imam's sacred head was brought to Yazid's court in Damascus on a spear, Yazid arrogantly declared that God had honored him and disgraced his opponents. At that, the daughter of the Lion of God, Sayyida Zainab, stood among the captives and delivered the powerful sermon that ground Yazid's pride into dust. Hazrat Sayyida Zainab, daughter of Maula Ali, said, "Yazid, do you think this rule is your honor? Let 4 days pass and nothing but curses upon you will remain in this world, while my brother's name will live on in pulpits and sermons until the day of judgment." History bears witness that those present in the court felt as though Mullah Ali himself were speaking.